Hello again everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking a little look at the brand new Flying Iron Simulations Spitfire Mk9C, and we're here at some really good freeware RAF Valley scenery which you can get on flightsim.to. The links for all of these will be in the description down below, guys. And we're going to go through a startup tutorial to show you guys how to start the Spitfire properly using their instruction guide, and then we'll go for a little flight and see how she handles. So be sure to click that subscribe button down below and join us as a frequent flyer. And if you enjoyed today's video, then do give us a like as well. So first things first, outside looks amazing, and the door itself that you can see latched there can be clicked whilst you're inside the flight deck so that you close the door. So a really nice little added function there, little quirk if you like. So into the flight deck. This is a tail dragger, by the way, so taxiing, the characteristics of it are quite different to anything that you are likely to have experienced before. Those of you who have sat in a Spitfire for real know that the view does kind of look like this, very obscured, and during taxi you'll have to weave left and right, turning to track the centre line of the taxiway. But anyway, here we go. Cold and dark, on stand here at RAF Valley. And we've got throttle down here. We've got mixture, and we've got trim controls, rudder controls down the bottom here. We've got our starter security tabs, tank pressurization for when you're over 10,000 feet, that's important, and a whole load of other stuff as well, flaps, gear, and a few other bits. So, let's get us started up. First things first, make sure your parking brake is on. That's off. That's on. Pressure gauge is there. Go from 0 to 12. And make sure your battery's on. To turn your battery on, there's a little flick switch here. That's off. That's on. You know your battery's on because the lights here will go down. If you arm the parking brake, then it will bring the aeroplane to life and you'll get the down thing there showing the battery is basically on. Next you need to make sure that your throttle control is all the way up, like so. Next you need to make sure your fuel tanks are on, bringing that lever there, red, all the way up. Make sure your mixture is on, basically off or idle, and you want to make sure then your throttle goes an inch or so forwards. So we now have the fuel pressure warning light that's now gone red because we've input some throttle control and prop levers forward. We've now got a pressure warning light on, so we now need to press the pump to pressurise the fuel systems manually until the light is extinguished, like it's just seen there. Next, primer as required. Doesn't do anything, you can pull it in or out, but it doesn't actually do anything, so effectively it's on auto if you like. Then you want to open these security flaps, head over to your mixture onto full. You then want to turn magneto 1 on, then you want to turn magneto number 2 on, and all there's left to do is engine start. There we go. Boost coil, and we're rumbling away. So there's not really much else to do except for checking lights and things. You can turn your nav lights on. Of course you can press the keybind for L just to turn all the lights on. If you look for your de-icing areas, then you can turn that on there, that little lever there, that's your windscreen de-icing system. And it's on the right hand side, just below the seat area. All we've got left to do is turn the park brake off, cover those flaps. If you want cockpit lighting as well, you just turn those across to the left. But we shouldn't need that today. So, park brake off. Little bit of power to get us moving. Check the brakes. and the throttle is delayed, so bear that in mind. You'll see visibility is really difficult, so if you've ever seen a Spitfire taxiing on the ground properly, you'll know that they are left and right constantly. There's the yellow line, so it's sort of tracking that as best as we can. You need to preempt when you're going to brake as well. Remember, it's a tail dragger, so if you brake too hard, the tail's going to flick up and you'll end up with a prop strike. Last thing, make sure for takeoff flaps are up, and last thing, click the door and it secures. You can click that handle again and it'll unlatch, but we want to make sure it's secure. One thing to note, of course, during takeoff, once we start to generate lift, that tail is going to come up. So it's going to be quite odd, but also add throttle in gently, because you'll find that the amount of torque steers, you're going to veer quite hard to the left. So, brakes off. So gently up on the throttle and make sure that we get ready for any torque steer that we might encounter during takeoff. See, that nose is starting to come up and we're starting to get a bit of torque as well, and we are up. It is really playful, by the way. Gear up. Now we're up as well, we can afford a bit more throttle. And let's climb up. Bit of aerobatics. So we've got the mirror behind us, that doesn't really do very much up here. But we can open the canopy if we want to. We can close it again. Cool little animated features. Let's do a loop. So it's not a case of just pulling the stick back and going for it. Speed, throttle position, etc. is key. Get the nose down first, let the speed build a little bit more, and then looking into the turn and pulling up. There's the horizon. And there's the horizon again. And looking into that as we start to come level. And for a replay. Twitches there are the replay flight recorder, trying to work out what position aeroplane should be in. Pulling into a half loop. And then on the horizon, rolling wings level. barrel roll. Little bit of height before we flick inverted. And approaching valley again. And of course no little flight in the Spitfire would be complete without a trip past the White Cliffs of Dover from UK World Update 3. So in we go to valley, and on approach we want to make sure we are as slow as possible. So now we're about 150, 160 knots. Let's get the flaps down, and you need to pull back on the stick a little bit because of the way that the flaps work. They tend to stick the nose down quite significantly. And let's get gear down now as well. Wait for that green indication on the bottom left of the display. There we go. The key here is to be managing the speed as best as possible. You want to touch down as slow as you physically can. And it is quite difficult to do smoothly, got to be said. Trying to keep the end of the runway in view here, just on the edge of the display, and that's kind of roughly where we're going to get 2 red, 2 white. Doesn't help with the wind. Being quite playful as well, as you can see, getting thrown about quite a bit. 120 knots. Let's bring that throttle off. Flare. About 80 knots we've touched down there. So there we go. Hope you guys have enjoyed the short video showing you guys the brand new flying iron Spitfire Mk9. Quite good fun to fly, really tricky to take off and land nicely with it, but it is a tail dragger after all. If you guys have got it as well, let me know what you think in the comments below, and if you're yet to purchase, I'll be interested to see what your thoughts are down below as well. Be sure to click that subscribe button and click the like button as well if you've enjoyed today's video, and check out our channel's live stream schedule for some streams coming up in the very near future. Thanks for watching.